Morning presented by Lowe's. It is time for Week 5 in bulk. My name is Rich Eisen. That's Steve Mariucci. That is Kurt Warner. And that is Michael Irvin at the very end of the set. How are you gentlemen all doing today?
We're doing good, Rich.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. But not as good as me.
Why?
Why? Well, let me tell you a little story, Steve. It's something called a lone wolf. When I choose a team and then you guys don't, 7 straight times I've gotten that correct, which is an NFL Game Day morning record. It's like an old time. You know what it is? It's almost like a fable. Roll tape.
Once upon a time, the big lone wolf howled his way into history.
I love the smell of 4 lone wolves in the morning.
The 3 little experts whined.
Somebody went 4-0 on lone wolves last week. I need that guy to prove it. He really knows what he's talking about.
The big lone wolf responded with a wry grin.
I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll howl until I win.
And he snatched the pick's lead, much to their chagrin.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just
nice.
That's why I have one of these right here.
Oh, man.
I mean, 4 in a row, and then Kurt starts the show and says, prove it, and then I do to the 2 to 3 more times. I mean, you know what? Not to mix sports metaphors, but this is like DiMaggio. I mean, like, come on now.
No, it's
this
not.
is going to live forever. I'm going to tell my grandkids. They're going to tell theirs. They're going to tell. Or I could tell yours already, Steve.
Yeah, you can.
And you too, Kurt. You too. Or if your grandpa too, aren't you?
Yes, we are.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, oh, God, yeah.
Speaking of getting old,
Grandpas.
so this season's now 5 weeks
Speaking of
old
old.
by the end of this week. Sunday storyline, Steve. What do you got for me?
Well, across the pond, guys, in the aforementioned Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yes,
right?
Yes,
Did I get that right?
You did get it right, Steve. Yeah.
Guess what? The Bears and the Raiders will play off. Khalil Mack. Well, is this a revenge game for him? Well, he gets to face his old team for the first time since he was traded before last season. And you know what? He's had more forced fumbles and more multiple sack games than the entire Raider team since then. This is going to be awesome watching him play against these guys. Colton Miller, the young tackle, will get tested by Khalil Mack.
Yeah,
today.
this week, Khalil Mack, somebody mentioned the word vindictive to him, and he said that's a good word for it.
Did he say that?
Yes, he did.
And for me, I'm going to go down to Dallas. I think the biggest game of the weekend is in Dallas between Green Bay, Dallas, both those teams that got their first loss last week. And for me, it wasn't really just about getting their first loss. It was how they lost those games. The Green Bay Packers got beat down up front on defense, run all over. And then you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they got beat up in the front, and their offensive line got beat up in New Orleans, which we hadn't seen in a long time. So that game is probably going to come down to the trenches. I got my eye on that. But let's not forget, you got Aaron Rodgers, former MVP, going against Dak Prescott, who's trying to get that big contract. He's 1-3 against Aaron Rodgers up to this point. So another chance for Dak Prescott to make a statement at home to beat another MVP quarterback.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to New Orleans. Since you went last week, I'm going back this week. And I'm telling you, you got to put your mind around this. You got the Glazers, right?
Yep.
And they said a back-to-back 5-11 seasons. And they said, what can we do? And they said, what can we do? And then here comes this old man over the hill. Let's call him Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, my God.
Bruce Arians.
Wax on, wax
and
off.
And he has right there with him Danielson. Let's call him Byron Leftwich. And they go to Tampa, and what do? They start waxing on 300-plus yard games for Jameis Winston and waxing on 100 passer ratings for Jameis Winston, waxing out interceptions and bad mistakes by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And right now, the Buccaneers can win this game today and be in sole possession of first place in the NFC South. Kudos to Mr. Miyagi and Danielson on the job they are doing in Tampa. This is their day.
We didn't see that coming.
Okay, Cobra Kai.
That's all I'm saying. This is going to be a big day in Tampa. Whoever saw that coming? Tampa with the chance of being number 1 in the South.
And who saw coming that Teddy Bridgewater would win his first 2 starts as a Saints quarterback?
Mm-hmm. Great job, man.
Yeah.
Great job.
Hey, he was 11 in 5 at Minnesota.
2 of the 7 lone wolves. Not 1. 2 of the 7 lone wolves. 2 times. Steve Weich is in the Superdome for this one. Steve?
Well, Rich, you just talked about Teddy Bridgewater winning his first 2 starts, but he has been sacked 7 times since taking over for injured starter Drew Brees 3 games ago. Now, Shaquille Barrett, the Buccaneers' outside linebacker and the NFL sacks leader, said they think they can get to Bridgewater because film study has shown if he doesn't get to his first read, sometimes he holds the ball for an extra beat. All right, now let's send it to Tom Pelissero in Pittsburgh.
Steve, there's on and off rain in the forecast here as the Ravens try to snap their first losing streak of the Lamar Jackson era against a Steelers team that just got its first win on Monday night. Running back Jalen Samuels told me things were back to normal this week. We've just got to start stacking from here. Here's Mike Giardi in Landover.
Tom, the Patriots have had 3 place kickers since the start of the 1996 season. Hall of Famer to be Adam Vinatieri, Stephen Gostkowski, and for a brief spell in 2011, Shane Graham. But with Gostkowski going on IR earlier this week, Patriots turned to 37-year-old Mike Nugent to be their guy. He has big shoes to fill. Now Mike Garafolo from Philadelphia.
Mike, no Sam Darnold for the Jets today. No surprise right now, but as of Thursday, that was the expectation that he was going to play. Now, they mentioned that he got the majority of reps in practice. I'm told he actually got all of them with the starting offense on Wednesday and Thursday. So Luke Falk only 1 day of prep and for his second NFL start. Now we say good afternoon to Stacey Dales in London.
Good afternoon, Mike. We are all thrilled to witness our first ever NFL game at this brand new Tottenham Stadium, the Raiders and the Bears. Temperatures at kickoff around 6 local. They're expected to be in the mid-50s, just a slight chance of rain. Anything can happen here in Britain. The Raiders, they got here on Monday. The Bears got here on Friday. But I know talking to both teams, they feel acclimated and ready to go. Right now, let's go on location to Kay Adams just outside of MetLife. Kay?
Thank you so much. We are looking forward to that Khalil Mack revenge game, but we are in East Rutherford. I'm Kay Adams, of course. I'm here with Sean O'Hara, who won a Super Bowl with the Giants, and with Michael Robinson, who also won a Super Bowl here at MetLife.
Yes, I did.
Neither of which are wearing their Super Bowl rings. Where are your rings?
You can't just wear those things everywhere.
I'm not allowed to tell you.
We're here, of course, as the Giants get set to face the Vikings, a really tough opponent here, and it's very windy outside of MetLife. And it poetically reminds me of the winds of change in this organization. Starting the year 0-2, they are now 2-0 with Daniel Jones under center. A tough test. Can they continue the turnaround today?
Yeah, Kate, today's obviously a great day to run the football if you're an O-lineman, you want to do that. And everybody's focusing on Daniel Jones. But to me, I'm focusing on the Giants' defense. Which defense is going to show up? Is it the defense that the first 3 weeks of the season gave up 31 points a game?
Oh, talk about it, Sean.
Mike, is it the defense that we saw last week with 3 interceptions?
That's true.
Sacks, harassing the quarterback.
Rookie quarterback.
That defense looked ignited. They looked motivated. So if that defense shows up, I think this Giants team has a chance. But we saw the first 3 weeks, they struggled. They gave up 380 yards passing against Jameis Winston. The recipe now with Kirk Cousins coming in saying, I've got to find my receivers. I've got some deep threat guys.
Squeaky
that
wheel
could
gets
be a
the
good
grease
challenge.
today?
Yeah, DeAndre Baker's had a couple good games, but Janoris Jenkins had a huge bounce-back game last week, so can he continue that play?
I think Daniel Jones just has to be money on third down, Sean. Last week against the Washington Redskins, 9 for 10 with over 110 passer rating on third down. He also has 61 rushing yards this year, right? And so just being able to move the chains, getting quality first downs, and giving this offense a chance. You give the offense a chance, I think that'll help the defense out, keeping the defense off the field.
One thing I really liked seeing from the young quarterback, yes, he's undefeated. Yes, he's the talk of the town. There's a new energy. He did make mistakes last week against the Redskins. He threw 2 interceptions, but he didn't care, went right back. He's unflappable, as we were talking about before we came on the air. And I'm really excited to see what he does against his toughest opponent yet, a huge task for Daniel Jones. So Daniel Jones did an interview, and he said the 3 people he'd want to have dinner with are Albert Einstein, Abe Lincoln, and Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, okay.
All those fun facts in there. I, of course, would love to have dinner with Sean O'Hara, Michael Robinson, and Ian Rappaport, who is standing by with the latest news and notes from around the league on this Week 5 Sunday.
Well, thanks, Kay. As long as you pay, I'm game for that dinner. As far as today, there's a couple interesting storylines we have been tracking. First of all, Melvin Gordon, the Chargers running back, is in fact expected to make his season debut today. He was active last week, did not play. Of course, he officially ended his holdout at that point. But if you have him in fantasy, this is a tough situation because though he is going to play, he is in fact expected to split carries with Austin Eckler. Still a somewhat limited role for Melvin Gordon as he kicks his season into gear. And then here's another one we have been tracking, Michael Gallup, the Cowboys receiver and really one of the most promising young players on their team, had knee surgery to trim his meniscus just 3 weeks ago, thanks in part to Britt Brown and the Cowboys athletic training staff. He actually is ready to go today, Rich, just 3 weeks from surgery, a huge boost for this offense.
And again, we are 5 weeks into the season, as we know, meaning the 4-game suspensions for these gentlemen are now over. So we'll see Antonio Callaway on Monday.